Today is Saturday, January 4th, 2025, and we're tracking a major winter storm that's going to sweep west to east across the United States, bringing significant snowfall, crippling ice, and a severe weather outbreak. And what we're going to be doing in this video is updating you on the latest information regarding that major winter storm. So subscribe to the channel and check back often for updates, especially if you are new. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up. Also leave any comments, questions, concerns below. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Looking at our temperature anomalies here across portions of the United States and southern Canada this weekend, we do see the winter temperatures really priming our atmosphere for that major winter storm across the central and the eastern U.S. today on the 4th of January and tomorrow on the 5th of January. And here are those temperatures. This afternoon, widespread teens and 20s across portions of the Midwest here, into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast, and that really continues into your Sunday afternoon as well. Look at down here, Oklahoma City 26, Tulsa 28, and 19 for a high. That's all we'll be able to muster in Kansas City, 28 in St. Louis. So it's going to be priming our atmosphere for that major winter storm. Here are the latest weather alerts from your local National Weather Service offices that have been issued across parts of the United States. We actually do have winter weather advisories across portions of South Dakota, the Black Hills region there, into much of Nebraska, eastern Colorado, into Kansas. In those pinks, those are winter storm warnings where we're gearing up for significant snowfall. In those purples here from southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, into western Kentucky, those are ice storm warnings where we're gearing up for a major crippling ice storm. And then we still have winter storm watches over here in blue, extending as far east as the Mid-Atlantic into West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey, and southern Pennsylvania. Those are likely to be turned over to winter storm warnings as we do get closer to this event. This afternoon, we're seeing some freezing drizzle, freezing rain across the Central Plains. So from Nebraska down into Kansas, western Missouri, going to be a slow go of it with travel as that ice begins to really start to accumulate across those areas. Going into tonight, the snow begins to really break out across Nebraska, southwest Iowa, northern Missouri, into southwest Illinois. That's kind of where the snow zone will be, from around Kansas City or just north all the way over towards St. Louis. A very heavy swath of snowfall, where snowfall rates could easily be 1 to 2 inches per hour. Ice just to the south of that, and then you go further south toward Oklahoma and Arkansas, we're going to see more rain. As we go into Sunday, very heavy snow swath, Kansas City to Quincy, Illinois, all the way over there in towards the central southern Indiana area there, into northern parts of the Kentucky, into the Lexington region, Pikeville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati and Ohio as well. Ice really piling up from St. Louis Metro over there toward Paducah, getting in toward Evansville, Indiana. Going to be very crippling ice as we go through Sunday. And then the severe weather on the southern side we'll talk about momentarily. Sunday night, the snowfall begins to break out more in Columbus, Ohio, into the Parkersburg area, Pittsburgh, in towards the Washington, D.C. area, and Baltimore as well. And again, the crippling ice will continue across the lower Ohio River Valley. Rainfall for much of the Carolinas there and Tennessee on south. And then looking at Monday morning, it's going to be a mess for the Mid-Atlantic as we have snow overspreading Trenton, New Jersey, the Harrisburg region, in towards Baltimore, into Washington, D.C., and even northern parts of Virginia. And then the ice continues again further west across the Ohio Valley. That eventually will turn to snow on the backside as the cold Arctic air rushes in. Let's look at the snowfall across the country. Going to drop some significant totals from Kansas and Nebraska all the way east here to the coast, into southern Jersey, into Delaware and Maryland. A solid swath here in the purples of at least 6 inches. But where you see those pinks, we could actually be approaching or exceeding a foot in some areas. So Kansas City, you're going to see likely a foot of snow from this. St. Louis, at least 6 inches. And then over here toward Indianapolis, around 4 to 5 inches of snow. Looking over across the Ohio Valley in the Mid-Atlantic, we're looking at around 7.5, 8 inches of snow in Cincinnati. Up here in Lexington, Richmond, very tough call. We'll see a dominant snowfall type of precipitation, or if it'll be freezing rain and sleet. Nonetheless, if you get mostly snow, you'll see about 6 inches. Otherwise, crippling ice will be the factor there. And then over here into West Virginia, the Parkersburg area, looking at about a 6 to 8 inch snow. Over into Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, looking at around a 6 to 8 inch snow as well. And southern Jersey, around a 3 to 5 inch snow. So definitely some decent snow totals to go around. But the ice is really going to be the problem as well. Look at that ice threat stretching from Kansas east all the way to Virginia. You can see a quarter, half an inch of ice, if not even 3/4 of an inch of ice in some areas here across Kansas into Missouri. I think the hardest hit areas in those ice storm warnings from southeast Missouri into southern Illinois and western Kentucky. Totals there could be up to 3/4 of an inch in some areas. Extending further east into Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, still seeing a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice. That extends into West Virginia, and even some cold air damming there towards northwest North Carolina there in the mountains. We might have to see some ice there as well, up to around a 1/10, 2/10 of an inch of ice through your Tuesday. Overall, all told, this is going to create some very significant travel impacts, major and extreme travel impacts where those icy areas are. So if you are traveling across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic through your Tuesday, make sure to please take it slowly, and only if you have to travel, because travel will be nearly impossible in some of these areas as we go through the weekend and into early next week. Let's look at the warm side, the severe weather outbreak that is likely to unfold tomorrow on Sunday, January 5th. We do have an upgrade from the Storm Prediction Center to a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather for southeast Arkansas, northeastern portions of Louisiana, and west central Mississippi, including places like near Pine Bluff, Arkansas, into the Monroe, Louisiana area, and Jackson, Mississippi as well. That'll extend down toward Natchez and into the Greenville region, with a slight and a marginal risk extending all the way up towards Memphis, Little Rock, Shreveport, Houston, Lake Charles, New Orleans, Mobile, Huntsville, and Birmingham, all seeing a chance for severe weather on Sunday. Let's look at the greatest risk and go to the least greatest risk. You can see right now we are seeing the best chance for damaging winds in that red shaded color, but even in the browns and the yellows, we could be seeing winds upwards to 70 miles per hour as we go through Sunday. Tornadoes will be a secondary risk, especially in the brown shaded color from East Texas all the way up as far north and east here as Tennessee. We could actually be seeing a chance for tornadoes, and then looking at a large hail threat, pretty low, but still could be seeing the quarter, maybe $half size hail with these storms going into your Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Let's break it down for you. Sunday morning, we're seeing that warm air advection off the Gulf of Mexico. Dew points at this point are rising into the low 60s, and then there comes that squall line. That's why the damaging wind risk is the most dominant severe weather risk here with this storm, because it's going to be linear and we're going to be seeing a squall line. There could be some cells trying to develop out ahead of the main line and along the main line that could spin up some brief tornadoes. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Damaging wind risk switching in from the west, so we're going to see Louisiana and Arkansas seeing the storms first in the afternoon. Evening, they'll push into Middle Tennessee, down into Alabama, Mississippi, and southeastern Louisiana, and that could drop some pretty heavy rainfall across the Dixie Alley. We could be seeing easily over an inch in many of these areas, possibly approaching 2 inches in parts of northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, when it's all said and done. And that could lead to some flash flooding, at least in isolated cases here across the deep south and into the Tennessee Valley. Wherever you're highlighted in green here, you do have a marginal risk or a low chance of flash flooding Sunday into your Monday timeframe on January 5th and January 6th. Let's look at the pattern as we go into next week, because it's not stopping whatsoever. We're going to see winter-like temperatures diving all the way to the southeast coast. So this is going to bring some pretty cold temperatures for the deep south next week between Tuesday, January 7th and Sunday, January 12th, essentially the second week in January. Looking at the height anomaly, we got the blocking up here in Greenland, blocking here off the west coast, and that is going to lead to a cutoff low down here near the Baja of California and into the southern Four Corners region, such as Arizona, New Mexico, and even West Texas. And what that's going to do, folks, is bring potentially a winter storm further south later next week. So here's the European model. Thursday, January 9th, bringing snow all the way down into places like Amarillo, into the portions of Wichita Falls, and maybe a wintry mix into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Going into Friday, all-out snowstorm on the European model for Little Rock, Jonesboro over here into Memphis. And then as we go into Saturday, that zips off across the East Coast. GFS model, confidence is increasing because it's also showing snow, believe it or not, all the way down in northern Mexico, and brings the snow line a little bit further south actually than the European model, down into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Shreveport could see an all-out snowstorm on the GFS model. Little Rock over here to Memphis, even portions of Tupelo, Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, into Atlanta could be seeing a snow event with this. And then Saturday, a little bit stronger of a solution for the Mid-Atlantic, whereas the European model is a lot quicker with the solution and weaker. So right now, looking at not exactly the totals for right now because it's still several days out, but at least the placement of the snow, the European model showing the snow track from West Texas all the way up here through parts of Oklahoma, central Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, into Tennessee, up into Kentucky there, in the western Carolinas perhaps. And the GFS model is a little bit further south, so looking at North Texas into northern Louisiana, seeing that snowstorm, Mississippi, portions there of northern Alabama, North Georgia, and then more of North Carolina, like Charlotte, could get in on the action with a snowstorm if the GFS model did verify. And just looking at the ensembles, putting all the models together in one ensemble envelope, and you can actually see pretty high confidence, at least for North Texas, the Red River Valley up here into southern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, for at least a couple of inches of snow and at least a wintry mix at the very least with this system between Thursday, January 9th and Saturday, January 11th, and we'll keep you updated on that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you are updated on all the weather forecasts 24/7. Check back often for updates. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up down below. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media. We'll keep you updated on the major winter storm, from the significant snow totals to the crippling ice to the severe weather. We got you covered here and all winter long on this channel. Thank you all for watching and have a wonderful rest of your weekend out there.